Okay, great. All right. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, Karen. And deep gratitude to Zlaika and Tempe as well for holding space while I'm away. And I'm just kind of dipping in and out of practice, given my travel schedule these days. So as Eric pointed out, I will be in the Northeast, starting Thursday night, Jersey City, Sunday, Manhattan, and then Vermont next week and Boston weekend after next. So you check the website. I can't tell you any more details because they'll probably be wrong. Um, so check always when in doubt, don't believe me. Believe the website. I've led many people astray. So it's good to be back with everyone. Welcome to all the new folks who are joining us from all over. It's been really wonderful to see everyone checking in and greeting one another. I am indeed Lama Rod. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm here on the ancestral lands of the Creek, Muskogee, and Cherokee communities. I'm deeply grateful to be held by the land as well, and I invite you to greet and acknowledge the land that is also holding you right now, who's also rising to support and love you in this moment. It's so important to be in community, even if it's online community, practicing together. Collective practice is probably the most powerful kind of practice that we can do because we're getting free together, right? Even though we're doing our individual work is supporting others, right? And when we're supporting others, we're doing collective work together, right? And the deepest, most profound view or ethic that we're trying to awaken is the deep view, belief, aspiration that all beings get free. Even ones that bother the hell out of us, they especially need to get free, right? Until we're really struggling to embody that ethic, right? There will always be there'll always be issues, I would say. We're going to always be part of the problem if we're not really struggling and working to develop the view, the aspiration for the freedom of all beings, right? That all beings may be liberated from the causes and conditions of suffering, right? That may all beings remember their innate awakened nature. As we know, we're not trying to create a state of being. We're trying to remember our state of being, that this state of being, this freedom is always present. We just need to remember that. The remembrance is the work of the Dharma, of Buddha Dharma, the Dharma path. Right? In our Five Buddha family course, we've been studying what I call um, the great movement or the grand movement as well. And this grand movement is how we understand freedom, liberation, right? So we're moving from the state of rigidity, right, which we would call the carceral, and we're moving through the work of abolition, which is the practice, to return back to the state of freedom, liberation, which is the goal, right? But again, it is really the work of remembering what we are, that we're not necessarily a who, but we are a what. We are a state of being, free from the rigidity of duality, right? We arise from this naturally occurring experience of emptiness, space, energy. And that's what we're always trying to practice to rest in, right? And of course, to a certain extent, we're faking it till we make it, right? But be aware, be cautious because the faking it can easily become the goal. It's where we get really comfortable. So there's a lot of people who, they start with good intentions of like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna fake it, right? But then they get stuck in the faking it and the performance, right? And they call that spiritual practice, right? But as we're faking it until we make it, we're actually remaining aware that we're still training for the real experience of liberation, the real experience of freedom, spaciousness, openness, right? Samsara, right? This experience of birth and rebirth, this reality is seductive as hell, right? It's so seductive, it will convince us that there is nothing but this. There's nothing but the suffering, right? There's nothing but the duality. There's nothing but the fatigue and the overwhelm, the hopelessness, right? And then once you start believing in this, you start being consumed by samsara, right? That's when it starts eating us up, right? And there are so many people right now being consumed by samsara, right? And what we're trying to do in our practice, particularly in any deity practice, especially medicine Buddha, is to remember that it is impossible for us to be consumed by anything because everything arises out of our minds, right? Our minds, like the nature of all phenomena, is an expression of emptiness, space, energy, or what we call in the lineage, luminosity, right? So to say that we're consumed or overwhelmed by samsara is like saying that the ocean is overwhelmed by the wave, right? It's like saying that the lake is overwhelmed by water, right? It's really not possible, but it becomes possible because we believe in this sense of self, this self-existing autonomous self, right? That can be overwhelmed, right? So one of our like very quick, easy tricks in the lineage is to ask, who is overwhelmed, right? What is it that's being overwhelmed? What is the nature of overwhelm, right? I'm tired, I'm angry, right? Whatever we say, like who is this I that's experiencing this? Where is this I at? Who am I? Where is this me? Right? That kind of inquisition, right? Inquiry practice, as we call it, inquiry practice is how we start untangling all of this assumption and misunderstanding about what we are, right? And these are the teachings we have to constantly come back to. I say this all the time. This isn't new for people. If you've, been around me long enough, like I have to keep saying this because it's easy to forget. It's easy to look out and be in the world right now with all these policies and legislation and so many people and some of us in this space who are having to go without access to food and healthcare and housing and just safety in general, right? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the realness of everything. And of course, not having access to resources feels pretty fucking overwhelming, right? And even in this case, we still have to remember the truth of the teaching, right? It doesn't make anything go away necessarily. Remembering emptiness doesn't put food on the table, but it opens up the space, right? For us to feel something other than hopeless. But it reminds us of that there's always potential. There's always potential because everything's always changing, right? So what we're experiencing now isn't a guarantee that we will be experiencing it tomorrow or even the next second. Like the great hope of Dharma is that things will always change. Now, granted, it may not change for the best, right? And this is what practice is doing. So if you're interested in something different happening that's more beneficial, then let's start doing something. Let's start practicing awareness. Let's start making different choices. Let's start practicing these contemplations and getting these deeper insights into the nature of things, right? We can influence the future, right? The next second that comes can be deeply influenced if we actually plant the seeds of mindfulness right now, of awareness, of attention. And when we know more, we do differently, right? Awareness is the real door to liberation. You can't get free without knowing. And the knowing itself is going to come with a lot of brokenheartedness, right? But it's also going to come with a lot of joy as well, right? And there has to be a courage right now to not give up on the Dharma, because if you give up on the Dharma will give up on you. That's just kind of how it works, right? The Dharma demands participation. It demands us to meet the Dharma, to meet it in the middle, in the center, right? So if you're not practicing, then how can you expect something different to happen, right? And if something great happens, then you're like functioning on residual merit and karma and good karma. That's wonderful, right? But that's going to run out without consistent practice, without constantly generating something positive and spacious and open, right? So we keep putting in the effort, right? And you really earn your dharma when there are so many forces telling you just to give up, but you keep going, right? You keep practicing awareness, you keep choosing love, kindness, compassion, right? You keep coming back to the breath, to the body, you keep coming back to the brokenheartedness and the grief. You keep taking care of the rage, right? You keep wishing, hoping, and praying that everyone gets free, right? You keep divesting from the realness of this, right? And even though it will continue to feel real, right? But over time, the practice is helping to kind of dull the sharpness of what seems so real, right? Nothing fades away, nothing disappears. Like enlightenment doesn't mean reality just dissipates and dissolves into emptiness. It means that like you stop taking this so fucking seriously, right? But that doesn't mean you don't continue to support people and beings who themselves feel trapped and lost in this. That happens only through the embodiment of compassion. Compassion keeps us tethered to the liberation of all beings, right? No matter how awakened you get, you should still stay concerned with the liberation of all beings, right? So we continue moving forward together, no matter what is happening in the world, no matter what is happening in our lives, we stay committed to the practice, right? Because if you don't give up on the Dharma won't give up on you, right? The Dharma essentially must always win, Right. It doesn't mean that sometimes you don't drop the ball and just like, you know, but it means that like eventually you come back over and over and over again. Yeah, you fall down, you fall off the path, you get lost, you get distracted. We get into our little silly bullshit. You know, it's fun for a second, then it starts to hurt. Then you remember, okay, maybe I should come back to the Dharma, come back to awareness, right? And that is the thing that we celebrate. It's not staying, right, on the path. Like that's make that normal, whatever. Who gives a shit? Who cares? I mean, yeah, obviously it's great if you do that, but like in a larger sense, like who cares if you stay aware, right? But what I care about is when you wake up in the moment of distraction and say, you know what, maybe I should come back to awareness, come back to the path, come back to the Dharma. That's what we need to be celebrating, right? Not celebrating, oh, I had a really good practice. No, I'll actually celebrate when you realize that you've been completely distracted and doing whole bunch of bullshit. And you say, you know what, maybe I should do something different. Maybe I should come back to what I know is liberatory, and caring and compassionate. And when you do that, celebrate that, right? To return back home to spaciousness, to awareness, to emptiness, to return back. That's the Dharma. The returning is the Dharma. Not the staying in it, but the returning. It's so beautiful. To return home is such a beautiful experience, right? And if you return home, if you keep doing that, if you keep waking up in distraction and choosing to return back, that means the Dharma is being deeply integrated into your mind and your body, right? You're becoming sensitive to the experiences of being away from home, right? And so you start waking up more and more, quicker and quicker, and then you come back, and the coming back isn't, a big thing. It's just like, oh, it's just a thought that just comes back, right? To this moment. This moment, which is the best of times. No matter how much we're struggling, no matter how much suffering we're in, right? No matter what we're watching and holding and being in solidarity with, regardless, any moment is the best of times, right? Every moment is a door into real freedom if we can just show up and pay attention. Mm. And I am reminded we haven't gone over this prayer in a while, but Sopa Rinpoche's prayer, which you'll see in the links, right? Be not distracted, right? Be not distracted. Like if you don't take anything away out of our session, which we're going to start practicing in a moment, but if you don't take anything out of this session, take this, do not be distracted right now. Right? Do not be distracted. Right? Pay attention. Right? We have to watch. Like we have to be aware, right? We have to fight. Right? Right? As Sada Shakur taught, right? It is our duty to fight and win, which for me is very dharmic. It is our duty to awaken. It is our duty to remember what we are. Right? When we get distracted, we forget. And that's when samsara, as well as the carceral state, has consumed us. Right? Do not be consumed. Right? You are not a being that was born to be consumed. Right? Do not allow yourself to be consumed by the illusions, the mechanisms of the states. Do not be consumed by the insecurities of insecure people. Right? Do not be tricked by the welding of power, believing that you have no agency when in fact you have all the agency that you need. And you may say, but I'm not free. There are laws, there are policies, there are borders that are guarded and protected. I just can't move. I have no freedom of mobility and all of that. And I say that we can be free in an unfree world, right? And that freedom comes with our awareness, right? We all may be bound by systems and institutions monitoring us, surveilling us, limiting our access to resources, telling us, or attempting to tell us who we are, right? But we choose to consent to that programming, right? The Dharma is teaching us to develop agency and how we understand ourselves, right? We have to fight to keep that space open to always have the agency to define ourselves, to remember ourselves as awakened beings, just trying to remember how to get back home to that state of awakening. Mhm. So be not distracted. Be not distracted. Be not distracted from what? From ourselves, from our aspirations, from our love, from our compassion. We be not distracted from community. Be distracted from our breath. Be not distracted from the grace of all the Buddhas. Um, so taking this teaching into our practice, be not distracted, right? Our awareness, our attention is the most important expression of care for ourselves and for others. To be aware, to know, to witness, to hold. And not only to witness, to hold, but to feel with others, right? Which is empathy, to feel with others. We have to hold on to our empathy because without empathy, there is no compassion, right? How can you want people to be free from suffering when you do not choose to feel it or to acknowledge it, right? And you don't acknowledge other people's suffering or other beings' suffering because you refuse to acknowledge yours. That's when samsara has you, when it tells you, oh, it's not important. Suffering isn't important. Discomfort isn't important, right? You don't have to care about other people. You don't even have to care about yourself, right? Without a relationship to discomfort, you're not getting free anytime soon, right? Because if there's no mud, there's no lotus, right? If there's no messiness, how do you know what clarity is? Right? If there's no dark, how do we know what light is? Right? So be not distracted. And the last couple of lines of Soka Rinpoche's hard advice, right? Look at your own face. Look at your own face. There is nothing else to realize, so rest at ease. Because to look at our own face is to gaze upon an awakened being. Right? When you gaze into your reflection, what do you see? What do you experience? Are you relating to your beauty, your spaciousness, your fabulousness, your fierceness, or are you getting lost and wrapped up in all the insecurity that feels as if it's being reflected back at you? Can you look at yourself and even consider that this being, this person, is also a Buddha? Right? A Buddha that's just simply trying to remember. Right? And this is what faking it till you make it really is about having this faith that beneath all of the brokenheartedness, the pain, the suffering, the grief, the hopelessness, that through all of this, there is this awakened state. Right? I mean, can you get with that? Can you believe that? Can you start taking refuge in that? Can you hold on to it right now? Can you hold on to this hope and this faith even when it gets darker and darker and darker, which is, quite thematic as we're moving. This is the season of darkness, right? The light is leaving the world and we are moving deeper into the darkness, right? Because the darkness is the teacher now, right? Darkness must take its place as the wisdom holder. So we journey into the darkness and we hold on to the light. We hold on to the light in our hearts and our minds. And as the darkness is teaching us, we're also still praying for the light. That's what the darkness teaches us, is to stay devoted to the light, no matter how dark it gets. So the darkness is testing us. This moment of systemic collapse is testing us, right? Again, can we hold on to the Dharma or can we hold on to the lights? Right? Are we going to give up? Right? Or do we do our duty, which is to fight, to win, to love each other and to support each other, as Mother Asata taught us? It's so easy to give up. But I tell you, you know, I had to force myself to take all of this shit seriously in the beginning of my practice as a young practitioner in my 20s, early 20s. I would get the teachings, I would go to a Dharma talk, and sit with the lamas, right? And then come back home and I would be like, oh, that's good for them. But what about like real life shit? You know, the llamas get to sit on their pretty seats. Well, some llamas get to sit on pretty seats. I just kind of sit on whatever people put in front of me to sit on. But that's neither here or there. But like the llamas would sit on their seats and you would go to the teachings. They would have, all this like all these attendants and like all this stuff. And we would like do all this stuff. And I'm like, that's great for them. you know Like they seemed to have it real easy. Then I would go home and just be like in so much suffering. And I remember particularly one night where I was like, something was like, why don't you like really take this seriously? Why don't you like really hold space for this, the resentment and the brokenheartedness and the loneliness instead of trying to distract yourself and giving up, you know? And I learned that night to just kind of hold the space open, relax, feel the stuff. Right. Not turn away, not distract myself, but I was like, no, I'm going to see what there is to see. I'm going to feel what there is to feel. I'm going to take this practice seriously. Right. And what I realized after that night of practice, that one experience is that the Dharma helps me to survive. The Dharma is the reason I survive. Right. That I kept giving up on the Dharma when in fact the Dharma was daring me not to give up on it. And accepting that dare, I learned how to hold, to be through, to develop this deeper faith, right? That maybe some of this was true, right? And so we see this moment as a testing, right? And it's not supposed to be easy. It's not easy for anyone, even for enlightened beings right now is not easy, particularly if you're embodied in this world. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. This is the dream, right? And so realizing that I just do my work and I'm grateful for this opportunity to do my work. You know? I don't pray for what's easy. I pray to have what I need. Right? I pray only to have what I need. Not necessarily everything that I want, but what I need. The Dharma will provide what you need. And what the Dharma will do is help us to understand what we actually need. Mhm. So, coming back into our practice, we're going to do all the things. But as we begin, just finding your seats, like finding the weight of your body, feeling the seat rising to hold you. And of course, shifting our attention to, again, acknowledge the lands, the earth, the great mother rising to hold and nourish all of us. Allowing this connection to the seeds and to the earth to guide us gently into this moment, into the present, and let the moment become full, vibrant. What are you noticing? What are the sounds, sensations? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What are you touching? What are you thinking about? What are you feeling? The moment is full, and it's okay. It can be full, right? There's no way that phenomena can overwhelm the moment. or space. Right? Again, water cannot overwhelm the ocean. Whatever we're sensing, noticing, experiencing arises from the unlimited, boundless ocean of emptiness, space. Whatever we're noticing or perceiving is just energy being shaped and being shaped by consciousness, right? But mostly being shaped by a severe misunderstanding. So even now we're training, right? We're training to relate to any phenomena, all and any phenomena as simply arising from this state or this experience of emptiness, right? The Dharmakaya, right? The formal name in Tibetan Buddhism, Dharmakaya, the great emptiness, the emptiness body. But this emptiness isn't cold, it's not void. This emptiness isn't a nothingness. Because there is a something, there is a suchness arising, which is the energy itself, the energy which is how phenomena is shaped and born and created. And this energy doesn't necessarily feel like anything except what we shape it into, right? As we shape it into emotions, objects, impressions, so forth. But ultimately, to allow phenomena to return back to its origins, back to its fundamental roots of just energy arising or embedded within this limitless spaciousness and emptiness. Or as the great yogi Milarepa, the great yogi saints of the Tibetan tradition, once said or taught, that we can allow the autumn mist to dissolve back into the morning sky, right? To allow the mists of phenomena to dissolve back into this wide open sky-like unlimited emptiness. And yes, we may still feel things. Yes, there's still the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the deep unsettledness, even the brokenheartedness. All of that is still there. Yes, you're still in your body. Yes, the seat is still here. We're not trying to erase anything, but we're trying to dissolve the sharpness of phenomena. So phenomena becomes just a little softer, right? That becomes a little more spacious, not a lot, but a little more open and fluid. And that gives us enough space to reconnect to hope and potential and the truth of change. And in this, we connect to the breath as well, not thinking about the breath, just noticing and experiencing the in breath and the out breath, feeling the seat tethering us and the earth grounding us, the breath moving in cycles in and out, deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling, letting the breath take care of us. And from this space, this experience, we begin to call all of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. We call the Buddhas of the earth, the Buddhas of the Buddha family, the energies of space, groundedness, openness, fluidity. We call those Buddhas, but essentially that energy of space into our practice. We call the energy of sky into our practice, the openness, the limitlessness. And we call the energies of the East, of the Vajra family, into our practice. Vajra only meaning clarity, precision, sharpness, which helps us to cut through distractions, cut through the overwhelming realness of carcerality. We call that energy in. We call in the energy of the South, the great family of Ratna Buddha, the energy that holds everything, the energy that connects to the richness, that connects to the hope and the joy that's being held in this limitless space. We call that energy in. We call the great energies of the Padma family from the West, these energies of connection, of intimacy, these energies that can pay attention, that can notice detail but not feel overwhelmed by the detail. We call that energy into our practice. And we call the energy of the North, the great Karma Buddha family, the energy of accomplishment, of efficiency, of doing, but not being distracted in the doing, but just resting in what it means to work and to practice and to experience clarity in the work. We call that energy into our practice. And as all these energies come into union, come into to this kind of integration. From this integration, we began to experience the awakening of Medicine Buddha, the great healer, the one whose medicine liberates. And allowing Medicine Buddha to slowly take form in whatever way feels natural. And don't think about it. Like, don't get so involved in how Medicine Buddha is arising and appearing, but just turn our minds to Medicine Buddha and allow Medicine Buddha to take form in whatever manner is needed for us in this session. And to help, we turn our attention to the opening mantra, evoking Medicine Buddha, awakening this energy. Om Minla Sangye Kino. Medicine Buddha, please hear me. Please notice me, look upon me. And as we chant this 3 times, beginning with Om and ending with the Om, I encourage you to surrender to this experience of Medicine Buddha awakening, which can be a very subtle experience. Right? But resting even in the subtleness of this awakening Buddha. So we begin with Om. Om. Om Razange Kino Soha. Om Razange Kino Soha. Om La Sangye Kino Soha. Om. And allowing the awakening of Medicine Buddha in whatever form or experience Medicine Buddha is taking, just blossom, just open. And knowing that it's okay if you don't feel anything, if you don't see anything, if you haven't had this transcendent experience, it's okay, right? Whatever is happening for a reason. And there are things happening that we're just actually not conscious of. Then that's okay. And we turn our attention to Medicine Buddha's main mantra, which again you will find in the chat. Teata om begenze begenze maha begenze raza sumungate soha. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. Now release the energy of this prayer out to all the worlds that we all may be liberated. And you can sit and listen, you don't have to chant along, but if you're chanting or even just listening, I want us all to really hold this deeper meaning that we are chanting to release all beings from suffering, that we are taking on the sacred speech of Medicine Buddha, and that this sacred speech is doing incredible labor. And when we're doing it together, it doesn't matter if you can't hear anyone else, right? If you're only hearing me, knowing that our chanting is creating really this ripple effect, this permeating, spreading out through this world system and beyond. Let us have faith in this and trust ourselves to take refuge in this work. We begin. O Ea Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze Ma Begunze Raz Sumungate Soa Tean Daum Begunze Begunze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma begenze laze sumungare zoa te ada begenze begenze ma So just in our practice, still resting, still opening, being in relationship to whatever has arisen and awakened. I invite you just to offer gratitude to whatever your experience has been. Because no matter what experience has arisen, it has arisen as a teacher, offering medicine. And though that medicine may be a little bitter and hard to take, it is still medicine. And we are grateful. And we are grateful for the medicine. We are grateful for the labor to awaken the medicine. We're grateful for how Medicine Buddha has offered this medicine in whatever form to us. And in deep gratitude, we let everything dissolve like mist back into the emptiness and spaciousness of our minds, coming to rest once again in this very state of emptiness, openness, this experience beyond conceptualization and duality, just resting, just being. This emptiness, this openness, it is the ultimate medicine. May we be healed. And so when you're ready, shifting your attention back to the seat, noticing the weight of your body, the seat rising to hold you, letting your body come back into form. When you feel grounded, beginning to reawaken your body through simple movement. Maybe taking a few deep cleansing breaths. Allowing yourself to come back into the space when you're ready. And just noticing any shifts, changes in who you are now compared to who you were before the practice. Has phenomena gotten any softer, right? Less sharp? Just noticing. And so when you're ready, we turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which we always close with, reciting it 3 times. And really taking it seriously if you dare to. And we begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they all pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always be the source of life for all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. Right. Thank you so much for your practice, everyone. Um, and I know that we didn't do the prayer request, but I'll offer the prayers in my practice this week, tomorrow actually. Um, so no worries, those will be offered.